Hello and welcome back to another video. I finally caught up with my gardening, and as it's raining today, I've come into my little workshop here. I've not been restoring anything. The last things I did, previous videos, was the revamp of my own Mamod stationary steam engine, and before that I did the Blaupunkt radio, which is still on test and is a tremendous radio. It's working really well. It was worth the effort of just changing the capacitors, and I did buy a new EEC 885, I think it is, the FM valve for that, and it's brilliant. It's got a fantastic sound. Anyway, something landed on my door the other day, as it often does. I don't often go out looking for this stuff now because I have more than enough, you know. But and I just thought it was a little bit of a curio, something of interest, and I thought I'd have a look at it, and without throwing too much money at it, see if we could get it working. And hence the title of this video. It's a box. Still in its original box, and it's a Morphy Richards automatic electric toaster. It's the, I believe it's pronounced, I think it's TUID, TUID, I believe is a, I'm sure that stands for something. Perhaps somebody can tell me what that stands for. But really, one of the real first, what we call proper automatic toaster. There'd been electric toasters for years, since the 1920s, but they weren't necessarily pop-up ones. You had to push the flap up and push it against an element and then stop with it and then unclip it. I mean, I know GEC and several other makes did toasters like that in the 20s and 30s and on into the 40s. Without much more of ado, I won't ramble on too much more about it. This is a 1962 model. It's dated as well, which is quite nice. It's got a little bit of paper has fell off the box, but it's the 19th of November 1962. So it is 60 years old, 61 years old to be precise. And so there we go. We'll have a look at this. Can we make toast 1962 style? So just to show you the box a little bit more, there we can see, hopefully the camera will focus on that. It doesn't like this light often, but it's, if you can't see it, that says Harrods of Knightsbridge just by my finger there, and some other reference. It was a special order with a red ticket on, and there's the ins and outs of it. It was quite interesting. It was even it was supplied with a plug, which is a 3-pin 15 amp, which was loose in box. Obviously, as I'm sure many of you older viewers will remember, as I well do, that no appliance came with plugs in those days. You had to buy a plug and then fit the plug yourself. You know, you soon got used to fitting plugs on everything you bought new in those days. And there we have Harrods of Knightsbridge again, and I presume that was the person that bought it in 1962. Morphy Richards was based at St Mary's Cray, Kent in those days, well, their toaster division was. And then if we come round, you know, we can see it's £5.13, and that's 6 old pence, and that obviously also had to have purchase tax on it. I'm not 100% sure what the purchase tax was in 1962. So without further ado, we'll now take it out the box. So hopefully, you know, you'll see without me getting in the way now, hopefully. And we'll take the lid off. The box is a little bit tatty, but as you'd expect, probably. We put that up there, that won't hurt. And something else I liked, it had still got the original instructions for installing and using the Morphy Richards automatic. You know, there was a great play on this automatic. As I say, I believe this was really the first, you know, automatic toaster. I believe there's one in the Science Museum, having done a little bit bit of research. I think it was launched in about 1955-56. So this is quite early on still, 1962 model, and it tells you, you know, all the general blurb. I think it makes me laugh. It tells you about not putting your hands down in the toasting slots when it's plugged in or when it's switched on, which, you know, I suppose that's a good link there to say to everybody, you know, that I've been used to looking at electrical items. You know, if you're not used to electrical items, don't touch or don't ever plug old electrical items in. You know, I have many years experience, and I was also trained many years ago. That doesn't mean to say this is still safe by any means, but I shall take the necessary precautions. And you know, as I say, if you're not used to dealing with electricity or using or, you know, repairing things electrical, best leave them alone. But I rather like that, and that it's got its original instructions. So there we go. And as you can see, it's still got the 3-pin 15 amp plug, which isn't fused inside. Those big old 15 amp round pins weren't fused. So obviously if a fault developed with the toaster, it would blow when your fuses on the you know, socket circuitry in your old, you know, fuse board. These were used. I think they're again the socket stopped being fitted soon into the 50s, and everyone went over to, you know, the modern sockets, you know, the modern plugs that we have today, and sockets like that. But I lived in an old house for a number of years in the 1960s that still had these round pin. So they went on, you know, for a number of years. The cable also looks well fried, as you expect. It's rubber cable. It will certainly need a new mains cable on it. And so if we take it out, still in the box. There's another bit of paper down there. I don't know what that quite is. And as you can see, it's in really quite good condition, really. I'm putting my hands down the slots, but I've not got it switched on, so I hope you're... And yeah, it's in lovely condition, really, for you know, all complete. So without further ado, we'll see what we can make of it, or what we can do with it. So I've got a new lead for it. Hope you'll see that. It's got a nice new safety plug on it, and it is like cloth. This is, you know, obviously it's like a cloth cable. This was really designed today for an iron, so it's the same. It's ideal really for the toaster. So and I've also cut that at the end to stop the end fraying where you cut it, because it's far too long. I've made the lead roughly about the same size as the old lead, which is quite long, but I thought I'd try and keep it original in length. And I always put a little bit of heat shrink just to stop this fraying, and this is this nice adhesive heat shrink, and it just neatens it up and stops any of the cotton braid there fraying down, you often find. So without further ado, shall we get into this and take the cover off and have a look? I doubt whether this has been off in 60 years, I would think. How well do you see that? Perhaps we want the light on, don't we? It'd be better off we put the light on. That's better. Forgot to put the light on there. Anyway, we took the cover off, and we've got our new lead there. And you can see it's clamped in. Obviously, it's the old colour, which, you know, in days gone by, in the 1960s, live was red. Neutral was black, and earth was a plain green, and it's the old rubber cable. It's all cracking away there. So we'll undo that now and remove that. I think better have a bit better screwdriver to get into that, because it's going to be quite tight, I think. That. But we'd better take that, we might as well take that right off, that cable clamp again. Screwed all together on the little bit there. That should lift up then. There's a little bit of, yeah, that cable is really horrible. And then if we take it, unscrew, it's just, you know, obviously I don't think that would probably meet there again today's standards. It's just the wires are just turned round the screw and then screwed in, basically. Not even got a washer. But it obviously worked, and it's lasted all these years. This cable is extremely brittle, as you'd expect. The old rubber cable was horrendous. I always remember working in a cottage that we were doing some work on many years, the late 1970s, and we had to lift some floorboards. And it was after that really hot summer of 1976. The cottage was being lived in, and we lifted some floorboards upstairs. And obviously in those days, cable had just been laid. It was rubber cable that had been laid sometime after the war, when this house had had electricity taken to it. And we pulled the floorboard up, and the cable had stuck. The cable had actually stuck to the floorboard. We didn't realise that. It kind of, the rubber had started to disintegrate and melt, as it does, and we ripped it up. And of course it took all the sheathing off and blew the fuse in the fuse box with a bang downstairs. You know, just shows you how terrible this old rubber cable was. But there we go. It served a purpose, and I mean, it must have been amazing. I often used to talk to a lady in this village who lived in a house that had electricity first of all in this village, and you know, for many months thereafter, all her friends would just come in and switch a light on because they were amazed. They couldn't get over it. They used to come in just to switch the light on and off. It's amazing, isn't it? And that was in the 1920s, so you know, about 100 years ago, I suppose now. My goodness, that's been wrapped around there a little bit. And so there's our old cable, and you can see just how yucky and how that disintegrates, and it goes hard. And I mean, it's probably like that the whole, you might cut that back and it would be all right, but why trust it? You know, it's just not worth it using old cable like that. So we'll discard that and give this a bit of a clean out, and see about getting our new cable on. So that's got our cable fixed in, and we've got our live, which is obviously now the brown. The modern equivalent in cabling to the live is now the brown. So we'll now do the obviously the blue is the neutral now, and the yellow and green is the earth. So we've just got those to sort out, and we're just doing it the same as it was. I'm not putting any washers there, I'm not soldering anything. I thought we'd keep it as it, you know, I mean, I could find some nice little brass washers and solder this to that, and perhaps that would be better, but this is how Morphy Richards designed it to be fixed, so why change it? So we'll come back, because that's all taking, you know, far too much time, that was, which is a bit like watching paint dry, isn't it? Somebody cutting wire. So I've just got the green to do now. There's our neutral now tied in there nicely, and they do hold, those screws do hold extremely well, and very tight, and that cable isn't going to go anywhere. It's nicely wrapped round the screw and then turned, you know, down. So that's not going to come off. So I'll get the earth on now. That's the, you know, obviously the shortest one. Obviously you want a nice spacing if you can between the. We could probably pull that up a little bit more that way, and then get the earth through there like that. So there we go, that's got our new cable back on. I often just, while I'm doing this, you know, just check that this is the blue wire, so that goes to the neutral plug. Fine. Nothing on the other two, which is fine. This is the live, so that should be the fine. Then the earth. So we know we're all connected up right there, and for the time being, I think we can put that cover back on. Obviously, if we need have to replace some new elements in this, which it might well do. So I'm back. In the end, I decided to take the for proper cleaning purposes, I decided to take the cover off the toaster, and you can see I've so I could wash the inside out. It's very dusty, obviously I don't think it's been used for years, and I've started to clean the outside up, which is easier obviously with it off. At the moment in time, I don't know what will happen when we switch it on. I think the elements test out okay at the moment. There's no breaks in them, but naturally they are old. I think somebody has been in here before because it's got writing on, and there was a wrong screw that had been put back into the bottom. So it's probably, as people did in those days, it was kept going. You know, you had this kind of thing repaired and there was parts available. You could buy the elements, you could buy the switches, you know, and all the little bits that go with it, kind of thing. So I think it's going to clean up very nice actually, and so there we go. That's as far as I've got at the moment, and we'll come back when there's something more interesting to show you. As I say, it's just basically cleaning this. So I've got the toaster all back together, and I've given it a bit of a polish. It's not completely polished yet, but I'm really pleased how that I used auto sol on it, and it's really come up well. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to say it looks like new, but it's transformed it. So now the moment is come. It's the big switch on. Does it work? I honestly haven't plugged it in. There's our new plug and lead, looking very smart. So I've got it only set on number 1. I'm not going to stress the elements out to start with. It is pushed down, so hopefully if we plug that in, I don't know whether you'll see this. There we go. We seem to have a working toaster. Don't want the camera, sorry, I'm jiggling the camera about, but I didn't want to get it too warm. And so I don't know whether you'll see that is red in there, but it's working. And there we come. It even popped up. A little bit slow, not particularly quick, but it was very stiff. So I'm sorry about if I move the camera a bit there, but there we go. We've got a working toaster. I think the next thing to do, we'll try a bit of bread in it and see if it actually will make toast. Right, here we go then. So we'll got a bit of bread. We'll drop our bit of bread in. We will turn it up a little bit and drop it down, and our bread falls in, and we'll see. I was looking online, as I say, this obviously was sold in November 1962, and probably made its first bit of bread at the end of November in 1962, so that's a long while ago. I just happened to Google, Frank Ifield was number 1 in the charts with Lovesick Blues way back then. I got the Lovesick Blues. Thank you, Frank. It doesn't look dated. I think that's the amazing thing. So our elements are on, and it seems working fine. I do wonder maybe whether the house got rewired at some point, and obviously this has got the old round pin plugs on, and it was put back in its box and nobody bothered to change the plug on it. Perhaps somebody moved to a different house and they'd got the conventional modern day plugs, so nobody bothered to put a new plug on it. Why oh, there we come. There we go. Look, we have toast. Not too bad at all, actually. If you like your toast quite well done, it smells lovely. That was on number 3. So we perhaps, for my toast, I would need that just turning down a tweak. But there you go. A 61 or 61, that's right, year-old toaster, Morphy Richards, Chewed toaster, still making perfect toast after all these years. There we go, just a bit of fun, and I just love these old gadgets. I think, you know, and I say, I will put it on its box and put the light back on now and show you how it's cleaned up anyway. So there we go, there it is standing on its box, looking absolutely magnificent. If I hold the tripod and just move it round, yeah, it's reflecting, it's so polished, it's reflecting everything in it, unfortunately, but I think you can see it, it's cleaned up magnificently, really, you know, and it just shows you this was built in an era when here in Britain, you know, we could still manufacture things like this as a price. There's the knobs around there, all looking lovely and clean. I've cleaned the handles there again with the auto sole. I do like that kind of paste metal polish for things like this, and I'm delighted with that. You know, I've restored several of these a number of years ago for various people because they like them so much, and obviously this one's a freebie, and so it's cost me nothing apart from the cable which I had already, the new mains cable I had, as I say. So there we go, a 1962 Morphy Richards Chewed toaster, all fixed up and working again. So as always, thank you for watching, and you know, just a little silly little video this is of trying to make something from that period work, and it does make jolly good toast still after all these years. Please do like, please do comment if you have any memories of a Chewed toaster. I'm sure you probably do, most people do. As I say, turned up on as many wedding gifts. I remember going to weddings, seeing these boxes, you know, when you used to go and view the wedding presents. And I did look up the purchase tax in 1962 was about 55%, believe it or believe it not. So that added nearly another £3, I think, to the price. So the overall price of the toaster with purchase tax would have been about £8. I might Google that and see what with the inflation rate and all that goings on over the years, what that current £8 of 1962 would be today in 2023. And if I do that, I'll put it in text below. But as always, thanks for watching. Please do think about subscribing. It does help us. That's entirely your decision. But thank you for those that have, and all your likes and comments. And we'll be back with some more videos very shortly. Until that point in time, I'll go off and do the beans now. I've got the toast. Bye for now.